Music kind of ran in my maternal family. Both my great grandmother and my grandmother owned and played beautiful upright pianos. And my mom loved to play piano as well, but mom and dad were struggling dairy farmers, and we lived in a tiny, tiny, barely 800 square foot farmhouse. So even if we had money for a beautiful piano, we certainly didn't have room for one. One Valentine's Day, Dad surprised Mom with a Lowry organ that he had bought for her at the Richland Fashion Mall in Waco. And it was small, no bigger than a writing desk, but it had all these light up knobs and buttons, and it could play all these amazing sounds. And it mesmerized me, and Mom loved it. And Mom loved country music. But me and my best friend Jason, we liked rock and roll. So when Mom played her organ, she compromised. She had bought a bunch of sheet music to some of my favorite TV show theme songs: The Incredible Hulk, Cheers. And I would sit on the bench right next to her and watch her hands fly across those keys, and we would sing and laugh. And Mom and I were already really close, but in those moments, it felt like there was magic in that house. And as the years went by, the farm actually started doing pretty good. Money started coming in. We had enough money to add on to that tiny farmhouse. It tripled in size. There was always people in and out of the house, especially my best friend Jason. It was like he lived there. And the house was filled with music and sound. Except for that Lowry organ. It seemed like the more successful Mom and Dad got at business, the more busy they got and the less time Mom had to play. So by the time I was a teenager, Mom had almost stopped playing completely, and that old Lowry organ sat in our dining room and became a place to display family photos or Christmas cards. I was in my late 30s and jogging with my wife Lee in San Francisco trying to catch a ferry when I found out Mom was sick. She called me on the cell phone. Because I'd been running, blood was pumping in my ears, and I could barely make out what she was saying, but I could tell she was using her "don't panic" voice. And what I could understand, I caught in fragments. "I'm going to be okay. Advanced renal cell carcinoma. I still feel fine, though. Immediate nephrectomy." As the weight of what Mom was telling me landed on my shoulders, I could feel my stomach turning because I knew what was coming. And I could feel my legs giving out. And Lee grabbed the phone from me. She didn't know what was happening, but she knew something was. And she talked to Mom as I fell on the sidewalk and cried. The next few years were punctured by the advancement of Mom's disease. Yes, this treatment is very aggressive, but it's been highly effective in the past. Unfortunately, this new round of drugs isn't going to be curative, but we're hoping it will prolong your mom's life. We're sorry, Mr. Gifford. We're trying to make her as comfortable as we can. Cancer finally killed Mom in 2014. My world had been me, my wife, Dad, and Mom. And suddenly, a full quarter of that world was gone. And her death broke me. Years pass. Dad's getting older. Too old to be getting up at 4 in the morning to find dairy cows. Too old to be climbing the steep steps of the farmhouse up to his bedroom every day. Dad meets a wonderful woman and he falls in love again. And he says he's done all of it. And he wants to know what me and my wife want to do with the farm and the property. No matter where I'm at in this great big world, there's always a part of my heart that's standing on that farm. Maybe in a field of gently swaying coastal hay. Maybe on the banks of the Brazos River staring down at the lazy waters. I told Dad I don't give a damn about dairy cattle or dairy farming, but that house and that property, I want them. That's where I'm supposed to call home. So me and my wife have been slowly transitioning and trying to take things over. We've been cleaning up the house. I've been able to go through some of Mom's stuff without having a complete and total breakdown every time. I guess that's progress, but it's tough. A lot of times I feel like an archaeologist examining a dead society. That old magic I felt in that house, everything that made it magical has just been cleaved away. Don't feel like a place to laugh anymore. just feel like a place to whisper. And that old Lowry organ, Mom's Lowry organ still sits in the dining room, collecting cobwebs, pictures of happy days gone by on that sheet music stand. I tried to turn it on several times, and all it does is make this broken whoop, whoop, whoop noise. It won't play. Every internet forum I've looked at has said that if a Lowry organ is broken, throw it in the trash. Those things just apparently were not very well made. But every time I think about taking it to Goodwill or hauling it off, all I can picture is Mom's hands flying across them keys, me sitting next to her, and I cannot bring myself to do it. Several months ago, my wife had a conference out of town, and she knows it's not a great idea to leave me alone by myself, so she encouraged me to have a guy's weekend up at the farm. I thought it would be a fun idea. I could introduce my adult friends, like Ricky. I encouraged Ricky, and Ricky came. I could encourage my adult friends to meet my old friend Jason. Maybe he could corroborate some of the insane stories that I like to tell. And that was a great weekend. People brought drinks and food. Rick brought his guitar. If y'all think he's fun tonight, you should hear him drunk. It was a good time. The house started to kind of feel alive again. And late Saturday night, after way too much barbecue and booze, things were starting to wind down. Me and Jason, we were in the kitchen just cleaning up and chatting. The other guys were in the dining room. And as Jason and I were talking, I heard it. Mom's organ. I looked up, and Rick was playing it. And it was playing beautifully. And he was playing some of Mom's sheet music. That was sheet music I hadn't heard since I was a kid. And it wasn't missing a beat. And as Rick played, one of my friends started trying to sing along with him, badly. Another one tried to harmonize with him, poorly. And they all broke into laughter. And suddenly that farmhouse was filled with the sound of Mom's Lowry organ and people laughing and having fun. Jason and I stood there in silence. I could feel tears welling up. Jason looked at me, and he has been like a brother to me since I was 5 years old. And he looked me in the eye and he said, "Dude, I thought that thing was broken." And as he said that, dozens of memories swirled in my head. Images of Mom's hands on them keys. Me and her sitting on that bench together, singing and laughing. Mom saying, "I sure do wish I had more time to play." Mom in that goddamn hospice bed, in so much pain she couldn't speak, but somehow able to smile and hold my hand. Dude, I thought that thing was broken. I guess not. I guess not. And I tried and failed to keep from silently crying. Jason and I stayed in the kitchen, him sipping a Dr. Pepper, me nursing a beer, as the other guys were in the dining room having fun. I never told Ricky and the other guys that night how much that had hit me. I was afraid if I spoke of it, it would somehow dispel that magic that had come back. And I was so afraid of it that this is the first time Rick's hearing this entire story. And the house feels like its old self now. Not completely, but at least it feels like a place where I can laugh again. And I'm going to tell y'all this. I'm never getting rid of Mom's Lowry organ. I've tried to turn it on since then. Sometimes it decides it wants to work, and other times it goes, whoom, whoom, whoom. I know it ain't fixed, but that's okay. I'm not fixed either. But hopefully, just like Mom's Lowry organ, I'm also not broken. Thank you.